Now. Echo. Okay. Hello, welcome. Well, we're going to do that again. Welcome to Australian Transformers Weekly. I'm going to do it again now because you laughed. Welcome to Australian Transformers Weekly. We are bringing you Transformers news from around the world into your Australian living room, up and down and left to right and somewhat diagonally, I guess, across the length and breadth and diagonal angles of Australia. This is episode 166. We are recording on September 14th, 2018. This week, we will be talking about our first look at the movie masterpiece Bumblebee. That's quite a good one, too. There is life in the old girl yet, because it looks like MP10 might be getting yet another repaint and a re-release. And we'll have a chat about some third-party combiners and maybe some first-party combiners as well. All that and more coming up after this.
As I just run the run sheet to have September 21st. I don't know why that said 14th.
Did I say 14th?
You did.
Fuck it, let's do it again. I'm also apparently Ron Burgundy. So yes,
No, yeah.
We'll get this intro eventually.
the intro.
If I don't stop interrupting it.
Look, I don't want to die on the podcast. Okay. Okay, let's do it again. Ready? Hello and welcome to Australian Transformers Weekly. We are bringing you Transformers news from around the world to the top, down, left, right, up, down, B, A, and start. That's a cheat code if you didn't pay attention. This is episode 166. We are recording live on September 21st, 2018. There's a reason I've emphasized the date, and you'll probably get that in the outtakes at the end of the podcast. In this episode, we will be talking about our first look at the movie masterpiece Bumblebee, and it's quite a good one too. There is life in the old girl yet, with MP10 looking like it's going to get yet another repaint and re-release. My shelves are creaking under all of the ones that are already there, and we'll have a chat about some third-party and some first-party combiners and how some of those limbs are coming into our possession. If you didn't realize this was a Transformers podcast, that might sound kind of creepy. All that and more is coming up after this.
Edit point. All you had to do was say September 21st, and I could have edited it in. Instead of redoing it all.
Would have sounded rubbish.
Okay.
They used to make a joke.
Hello. Welcome to the September 21st show of the podcast. Thank you for watching. Okay, ready?
Yep.
Ready, set. Hello and welcome to the show. I am Jason, coming to you from Sydney, Australia. Joining me this week, let's look at the Hangout layout. We have Max coming to us from, I believe it's now the Tesla Free Zone in Adelaide.
I've stopped keeping track.
Look, it's on again, off. It's on again, off again. If you want to,
a bit like this running joke, apparently.
Yeah, pretty much. But all I'm saying is that if you want to pull up a joint and smoke it on a podcast, Joe Rogan is available. Brad, coming to us from his undisclosed location somewhere in country Victoria. How are you doing?
Light him if you got him. We're not only back for a Friday night.
I believe he did.
Back again. We're back. I don't know where I'm going with that.
Right, we are back. What have you guys been up to this week? It's been a couple of weeks since we've been on the air. It's been a few weeks since we've seen you, Max. How have you been? What have you been up to?
Not very much, honestly. Just uni, work. Wasn't on last week because I got a dog. So
that is a valid excuse, and a very, very cute dog she is as well.
Yeah, dogs are pretty great. You should own one if you don't.
Dogs are pretty awesome. If you're feeling lonely at home, try dogs.
The exciting new product.
Yes.
Canine.
May I just counter that? We're currently babysitting my grandparents.
You're babysitting your grandparents?
Shih Tzu thing. I don't know. It's one of them fluff ball dogs.
That's not a dog. That's a rodent.
Yeah, that too. Best behavior. It's always been on its best behavior.
Oh.
On Saturday last weekend, we locked it in the hallway, which had access to the bathroom and the bedroom, and went to town shopping. We come back, and at the end of the hallway where the door was closed, it's torn the carpet back about 3 feet, torn and chewed the carpet liner underneath and all the foam. And now I feel like I'm living in a shack every time I walk across this bit of barren carpet that's hitting concrete.
Well, I'm sure it loves you very much.
Yeah,
I wanted to send it outside and be tied up in the garage, but no, it's still the cute and cuddly grandma's pet. So
I'm still at the peeing everywhere stage. Haven't quite gotten to the lack of furniture stage yet.
what about the dog?
Oh, but
10 points. 10 points.
Thank you. Went for and
I have nothing.
Hook,
You can
line, rod, and copy of Angling Times. And look, I'll just point out that I have my cat sitting on the floor glaring at me, waiting for me to let him jump up into my lap. Anyway, speaking of cute and cuddly things, let's talk about some Transformers, shall we?
Let's do it.
We are going to start off with Bot Shots Weekly. This is the weekly TCCA Facebook photography competition. We encourage you to take your bots out of their cabinets and out into the great big wide world. Introduce them to the outside world, and we have also christened this contest Daniel. Oh my god, I can't remember his name. The Tyson Richards weekly funny photo contest, because that seems to be what happens. This week's winner is Tyson Richards with this lovely photograph of Rumble and Frenzy, and I refuse to be drawn on which one is which. But of course, it's the immortal line. First we crack the shell, then we crack the nuts inside. However, Tyson might need to check his Coles salted mixed nuts, because I don't think they come with shells.
Or needles? Question mark.
Oh, that's topical. that's yeah.
No,
That's we might edit that out.
That's a production point. Another production point. Have you got the link to the site open?
No.
Okay.
We've got the JPEG.
All
right.
Awesome shot.
It is a good shot. He's got the Robot Heroes figures there, and I also think that putting them on a glass table actually really helps the sort of idea that they might be jumping up and down on the on the ground.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even notice that. That's really quite clever.
Yeah, it's pretty good. All right, let's get on to some news, shall we?
Let's.
Do we have a news theme? We need a news jingle. Do we?
Yep, we got one.
All right, cool. Shit, better play that.
We got all sorts of jingles.
Okay. Look, this guy's worthy of this guy's worthy of some news discussion. This is MPM 07. This is the new Bumblebee from the forthcoming Bumblebee movie named Bumblebee. Arriving. No, I can't work Bumblebee into it again. Arriving in cinemas December 21st, 2018. We are looking forward to this one, and this looks like a pretty decent masterpiece figure. Now, it's not due out for some time yet, but of course, someone got their hands on one. So
seems to be the case.
Yeah,
fairly often.
It does seem to happen fairly often these days, doesn't it? So it is, of course, an officially licensed VW. There's my cat jumping into my lap. It is an officially licensed VW. He's got some very dark green windows, and he does appear to sort of have that junkyard feel to him, doesn't he?
Mm.
The sort of like the dirty paint job, I guess. But there's a better look at the box there. We are gonna sort of jump through some of the photos. So, this was discovered by a YouTuber, and he's dutifully put up quite a good video of it. And these are screen snaps taken from TFW 2005. We are looking at weapons and a face mask accessory there.
Yeah, it does give us a good idea of what he's going to have in the movie as well. Like, because
there's that trailer shot with that face mask.
Yeah, but we haven't seen like the sword or the what a bit like what looks like a Gatling gun. No, we haven't seen any of this stuff.
I hope that sword doesn't light up. If it's got the glowing bits around the edge, Pacific Rim or something like that, it's going to be depressing. But
I don't know. It sounds like you're crossing it over with Cyberverse.
Well, he does have the sort of Cybertronian writing on it. A la the Optimus Prime swords.
Yeah, it's true. There's a close up of that there. Although it's less sort of Cybertronian writing and just sort of more cookie cutter. But, it's quite small, so that's fair enough. That looks like it's compressing down there. And there's a comparison to the existing movie Camaro Bumblebee.
And
So
just looking at that alt mode, I don't think we've had a Bumblebee ever that's this clean in alt mode. The doors, the bonnet all being one piece, just where the panel lines are. There's very little panel lines in it. Like, yes, okay, when we see in the robot, you can see clearly that the doors are on his arms, and he's got a bit of a backpack and that in
fair enough.
robot mode. But I think just having this alt mode being this clean looks really good.
It looks natural.
Yeah.
It does except for the windows.
Looks like it's in areas where you would expect it to be, and that seems quite intentional, I'd say.
Yeah. There's another size comparison with the Camaro there.
Yeah, and I guess this sort of continues the whole trend of like vehicle mode scale in both the movie masterpieces and studio series isn't a priority, but robot mode scale is an absolute must.
Now, is this the normal masterpiece Bumblebee there, or is that a different one?
I'd say this is deluxe, the studio series.
I think that's the deluxe. I'm not sure how big this will be. I mean, I imagine this will be a fair bit bigger than the regular masterpiece Bumblebee.
Yeah, look, there's a bit of a comparison with the human hand. Yeah, fair enough.
I do love that paint fading as well.
Yeah,
sort of it does give off a bit more of a realistic look, especially in robot mode.
Well, so here we are. We're looking at robot mode now.
Because it gives it a sort of natural shading, like on a lot of figures, right? The way that light plays off of the angles doesn't look quite the same as it would on that character realistically. So you have stuff like where on a lot of, 6-inch Marvel figures, they'll put like shadows on the capes and what have you, like to replicate that realism, because light doesn't play the same on this scale. So here you get that same sort of effect where, it's a much smaller figure, but you get that realistic looking lighting through that paint shading.
Yeah. So
like here with this alt mode or the bot mode too, like it's got the chunk and the hefts and just it's filled in much like just those big 2-step or 3-step changes you get from ROD and that, but you've got the engineering and the detail here. More so than what you had in the original Ultimate Bumblebee.
Yeah, like I will be honest, it has a bit more kibble. Christ, I can't construct sentences tonight. It has a bit more. It has more kibble than I would have hoped for, given this design. It was a figure that we were lauding, like a design that we were lauding since we saw it, for being, oh, look how much more do you want
his character design? Yeah,
these clearly defined sections, and you'd think that would translate well into a toy that doesn't, rely as much on panel forming. And so it is a bit disappointing to see here that it has a fair bit of panels on the back, at least.
The weird thing about it is that we've seen the figure we've seen the character in the preview. He does not have doors there in the movie.
No.
Yeah, he does.
No. Dare I say, this just seems like a movie leader figure that they've decided, well, let's stick it in the movie masterpiece line and put a little bit more paint on the alt mode. Because this is straight up leader, Dark of the Moon leader Bumblebee, and all those original leader figures where they're big, bulky. Yes, there's no electronics in his chest, but it's just sort of.
Yeah, I don't. It is kind of a shame with this figure, to be honest. Like, I was really excited when I saw it, and I was ready to sell my Camaro Bumblebee because I do prefer. I think most everyone prefers this B design, but just on a basic figure level, it doesn't seem to achieve quite as much.
Because you look at Barricade, Ironhide, Prime,
my God.
the other movie masterpiece figures. They've taken the original figures and made them in that bigger scale and improved the engineering and the quality, or maybe not quality, but improved the design and engineering a lot. Where this just looks like it's a new. It's not the Last Night or the Age of Extinction Prime, but it's the next step.
Yeah, it's.
Where'd those come from?
Yeah, it looks like a very improved figure. There's no question, and it looks like a solid figure, but it doesn't have. The movie masterpiece line has been defined by, just groundbreaking release after groundbreaking release, right? It's been achieving things that we didn't think possible with these designs. And so then a character design comes along where on a figure level, it should be easier for them to design it in that much more realistic sense. And for whatever reason, it just hasn't happened.
We've sort of gone from this looks fantastic and we love it to it's not really quite what we wanted.
Yeah, I think the thing is, as a figure, it looks excellent. There's no question there. Like backpack aside, it looks excellent. It just doesn't have that same level of accuracy that we got with any of the other movie masterpieces.
Yeah, and I mean, especially if those wheels are just sort of seem like they peg off and stick on his shoulders. It just that and what's happening with the legs just remind me a lot more of the Ultimate Bumblebee from Transformers and Revenge of the Fallen that come out.
Yeah, like
he just doesn't sing and dance.
At the first movie masterpiece Bumblebee, and I do think most people seem to prefer this new design, but you compare the two figures and there's almost no comparison in terms of what they're pulling off.
Yeah. Yeah. Even the Lux is doing the doors on the shoulders.
It does seem to be the thing, doesn't it? Do we have an idea of price and release date for this?
Being a movie masterpiece, about $100.
Yeah, I think it was like 120 at Toybot.
Oh,
which was surprising actually. Given, and we can assume that that's cheaper than most other places. Given that Toybot generally runs a bit cheaper and gets things later, so
if it was a movie later, it would have been $80.
Yeah, I am surprised there, to be honest, given that it's smaller than the older movie masterpiece and has less engineering.
It's probably the same skeleton, though.
I don't know about that, to be honest. I mean,
I don't know. I think there are definite similarities.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like in terms of where the parts end up and the general silhouette, I can definitely see where you're coming from. You have those two sections of the hood that wind up on the chest. You have the wing doors, all of that sort of stuff. But I don't think there's any shared parts here. But yeah, I could definitely see a shared, I guess, transformation philosophy behind it.
Yeah, this sort of makes me wonder that you can see the differences, but you can see the similarities where like same parts end up in the same place. The bonnet is split over the chest and things like that. When a Transformer scans a new alt mode, does it just map the alt mode onto its existing transformation?
I think it varies from continuity to continuity, and within continuities, it's not something that's well defined.
That's
I mean, like in the movies, like in Age of Extinction, we saw Prime scan a new alt mode, and like the only time we saw
it grew like 50 feet.
Yeah,
the only time we saw someone actually change from body type to body type on screen was with Prime, and he just changed at a molecular level.
So, yeah, I've the young fellas sort of getting interested in the live action movies and been watching a few of them as of late, and sort of going back and revisiting. They seem, now that you've seen all five, they seem to fit a little bit more in with each other. But where you have your biggest questions is probably for the figures that you don't really see a lot of. Bots like Grindor coming out of Blackout and stuff like that. Well, it's supposed to be salvaged from the ocean floor, and but then looking at this Bumblebee on a design level, all the Bumblebee figures, even all the Bumblebee characters on screen, have always had the doors as wings. You sort of got that Bumblebee or that insect wings as doors, and I just wonder if this figure's been sort of, or even any of the movie Bumblebee figures from this Bumblebee movie have been sort of designed before they had final images of what the character was going to look like, and just went with that.
Wouldn't surprise me, actually.
Just went with that wing design on the doors for the shoulders again.
Because I remember we saw, like, a very long time ago, we saw a leaked prototype of the alt mode for this figure, and that was before we'd seen like a trailer or anything like that for the movie.
Yeah,
and that leak was what told us that it was going to be a VW, actually.
Yeah.
So this figure's been in development a very long time, and chances are that, yeah, totally right there.
Yeah, and granted, the production, like them and Hasbro, would have been sharing designs back and forth and all that. But we know that it takes about 18 months to design a figure, and those recent designer videos that come out from the guy, the guy from Takara that was designing the Revenge of the Fallen Prime, and that they'll design that Prime before they even knew what the Prime looked like in the film, and
Yeah,
it was just coincidence that transformed similar.
Yeah, that was amazing to find out. Like, that it just happened that this part needs to go here, so it winds up functioning the same way in the movie. I guess in terms of where this originates, it does also wonder who actually designed this figure. Because if I'm not mistaken, every single movie masterpiece so far was confirmed to have been done by Shogo Hisui. And I don't know, but he's always like a lot of his work has been quite lauded for its lack of any sort of kibble or parts taken off, whereas this
The golden era
masterpiece. And just seeing how different it seems in terms of particularly the way stuff compresses inside the torso to the previous movie masterpieces. I wonder if this is from a different designer. Maybe also because it's coming out for a new movie, they might have a different guy working on it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but one quick thing before we do move on, because we need to. Does anyone else see ET in his chest?
Well, I see more of a Johnny Five actually.
Yeah, so do I.
And
okay,
now I wish I didn't, but
Yeah.
thank you, Brad.
All right. Let's move on.
I'm actually going to submit this photo to that Twitter account where you post photos of things that look like they're smiling. Okay, let's move on. That's sort of the major toy news of the week. This came up in the last couple of days. There is a rumor going around that we are going to get yet another repaint of MP10 Convoy, Optimus Prime, however you'd like to refer to him, and this is going to be a Ghostbusters tie-in. Now,
Okay.
I have no idea. I'm just going to say I have no idea how this is going to work.
Let's speculate.
But if it's somehow tied into Starscream's Ghost, I'm right there for it.
Could they do a 2-pack with a Ghost MP11? Because they haven't done that.
I don't think they would. I think that's too obvious for them.
Like, what else are you going to do?
So this is interesting. Looking at this image, right? These are just like straight up images of MP10, and someone has stuck a Ghostbusters logo over it. The one thing that I thought is looking at the photograph of Prowl coming out of the back of the trailer, I actually thought that was Ecto-1 for a minute, just at first glance, and then I thought, oh my god, what if they do actually do some kind of an Ecto-1 transformer?
It'd be interesting to see if they went that route.
Yeah,
sort of the first time it had like a masterpiece 2-pack.
Because there's always that fan art of the DeLorean, Ecto-1, the Tumbler, all these movie cars as Transformers. There's currently no masterpiece figure. There's no Transformer figure on the market that resembles a hearse. So it'd have to be a completely new figure, new mold, and I don't think they're going to spend that on a repaint.
Can I also just say, like, I did get the most. I've got the two most recent MP10 repaints. One has not been delivered yet. That's the Golden Lagoon one, but I did get the 7-Eleven one earlier in the year, and that really disappointed. It just. I feel like I went to such lengths to get it, and I'm just sort of like, right now I've got it. I don't know what to do with it. So I don't know. I don't know why an articulated lorry would be a Ghostbusters crossover. We should just point out that the item was actually listed on a website called toypanic.com, and it was picked up by a blog called Snackers, which I do have open there. And if you can read that, great. And this does list it as an exhibition exclusive. I'm not sure which exhibition it is. It might be something coming up later in the year in Malaysia. I'm not really sure. Anyway, that's
Might
pretty
be,
much the end of that.
I think Tokyo Comic Con is in December, so
Well, I can see the only 4 digits I recognise there are 2019, but
That's right. Yes.
yeah. But two quick questions. One, Roller in the Galvatron Takara pack, we had Roller from the comics that was a long lost in a different dimension or something. Could that possibly tie in to it?
I doubt it. Yeah.
All right. Question 2: the jetpack he had, was that a third party edition that was made for MP10, or did it come with Sideswipe?
I have no idea, to be honest.
What jetpack?
There's a jetpack for MP10.
Okay, but it's not an official thing. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so that's not going to work either. Because I was just thinking,
you're thinking about the proton energy pack. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and just paint
possibly
grey.
You might be overthinking it. Although that does actually give me an interesting thought, because we have seen the bathing ape camo paint. So maybe they'd actually make Optimus Prime a Ghostbuster instead of like a vehicle for the Ghostbusters. Who knows?
Yeah, Ghostbusters insignia on the shoulders instead of the Autobot logos, and I just don't know what else you're going to do. I
guess they've done Prime as, Jeffrey the Giraffe. They've done Prime as
Either one.
Either one, yeah.
And look, Prime is very versatile, and he has a wide acting range. Okay.
And I'll just say it now. For those that haven't got on the pre-order yet for version 3, you've got all these repaints to look forward with that version as well. Because
I did see someone actually did a digibash of the version 3 and what it might look like as a Ghostbusters promo as well. Anyway, look, there's one other little rider with this. Now, if you look at this blog post, you'll notice there are 2 photographs at the end. The other one is a very, very low resolution photograph of some cassettes.
Nanoblocks?
At this resolution, yes. But it does look like we're going to see a new encore release of some older G1 cassettes coming up. So hopefully that'll be coming soon.
It's pretty cool to see these forgotten cassettes coming back. Between apparently these and the Dino cassettes coming out in those Bumblebee packs.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Hasbro's cracked the storage case with the old cassette molds, and Takara's just like, beauty, we'll have those.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's like little obscure parts of Transformers history coming back into the limelight.
Yeah, so I saw a few of those Bumblebee and cassette sets at TF Nation. And everybody had the cassettes out and combined, and the Bumblebee remained inside the little bubble, even with the wrap, the cable ties still around as well. That never got opened at all.
Yeah, I've seen a few of them flood the market recently.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Just quickly, because Transformers War for Cybertron Siege is coming up next year. It is the next installment of the Transformers Generations line and the beginning of a trilogy. Now, we did see a new poster emerge on a website running a promotional story for some of the toys. This artwork is new. You will note, however, that it still features no Decepticons.
Except for, I guess, there's Tetrajets in the back left corner.
I think that's a big red herring. I think they just got the Tetrajets there. Everyone's thinking the Tetrajets are coming. I don't think they are.
I could have sworn they teased the Tetrajets at some point before this.
I feel like there will be Tetrajets because they need to put Seekers in this line somewhere. The Generations Seeker mold is,
it's an easy replay.
I maintain that there is no good Seeker mold.
You take that back.
Except for the leader. And even then, it's the middle of a road leader.
Anyway.
The Combiner Wars leader?
Yeah.
Or it's Jetfire.
Do you actually have those?
Me?
They're not that good.
I used to have them. I thought they were pretty decent. Like I said, they weren't amazing, but they were at least good, which is more than I can say for basically every other Seeker mold that's been made.
Not sure I agree. Anyway, so still no Decepticons. Hasbro is exhibiting at Paris Comic-Con next weekend. Do you think we might see something new?
Well, We were almost certain
Oh,
we were going
that's a yes. They're exhibiting in Paris.
Answer your own question.
Go on.
So it seems like everyone was fairly sure we were going to see them at Toronto Fan Expo, but then we just got studio reveals. And even then, the only other Siege things that we've seen in these posters is like some Tetrajets in the background and then this Red Alert and Prowl. So I'm not sure what's going on. We know that there's going to be a Voyager Megatron and a Leader Shockwave, as well as a couple of the Micromaster teams. But we have no idea what they look like or when we're going to see them.
They'll be wave 3 and you won't see them anywhere.
Yeah.
As we'll get to in a future discussion.
They'll just rock up randomly in Singapore in 8 months' time and are never released anywhere else in the world.
Well, they'll end up in TK Maxx. All right, let's move on. There is one of the things that you wanted to talk about, Brad, was the third-party combiner scene is seemingly turning its attention to Bruticus. Now, we are looking at Zeta Toys, Bruticus on the left, and was it Unique Toys on the right?
Yep.
So these guys both have some very different takes on the figures. Like they're the same but different. They're covering the same characters. In fact, look at just how different they could be. Like practically anything that could be flipped is flipped. The turret on the tank is in a different spot. Blast off and Vortex are literally like 180 degrees
inverted,
from each other. And Swindle is front to back. So no one will accuse these guys of copying each other. But the thing that has caused a little bit of consternation is the weird chest design that is on Zeta there.
Yeah,
It appears to be a replication of Blastoff's cockpit, but I'm also wondering if it's actually something to do with Vortex's cockpit as well.
I'm not sure if the colors just. I guess Vortex does have a little bit of purple on him.
Yeah,
well,
I don't know.
I'm not sure where a lot of that comes from, to be honest.
Most of the stuff
it does just seem like a stupidly placed replication of Blastoff's cockpit.
Yeah, and most of those front shields are just add-on parts anyway. Looking at you, Combiner Wars Devastator, but that's a official figure. Well, that's one thing I wanted to briefly talk about is just the combiner scene. Jason, you haven't purchased any of the big combiners.
I've got a Jinbao Bruticus. That's it.
Yeah, and was that design engineering or was that price like me?
I'll tell you, it was definitely not engineering.
Yeah,
because you've handled the Jinbao Bruticus, haven't you?
Yeah, and I saw it.
Yeah, it's so he sits up there on top of the basically it was price.
Yeah,
because I got him for a good price from Joel on import. It was after the first wave of it made it out, and everyone was sort of like freaking out and screaming to the heavens at how good it was.
Yeah, and
I was a bit disappointed in it, really. But he sits there and looks cool on top of my display cabinets, and that's pretty much all you can really ask for him.
Well, that's it. I've had it displayed at a few conventions and that, and it's definitely not like people see it and go, wow. It just wasn't.
As long as they don't touch it, it's good, right?
Yeah. Well, I had it nestled in between Fort Max and Metroplex from the Titans, but just so it didn't fall ass over it. But it just wasn't. It wasn't ticking that G1 box for me, especially with the head. But it's sort of one of those things. What does get you if you are going for combiners, because officially, except unless it's in the Titans where we've seen with Devastator or even with Combiner Wars, we aren't really getting those official combiners. And what would get you interested in going for a third-party one and paying $500 plus?
Nothing is going to get me to pay $500 plus for a third-party combiner. Like, I don't feel like the individual team members on a combiner team are worth $100 each.
Yeah.
Well, that's If you want a different tact, you go right. Masterpiece Ultra Magnus or MP10, the Datsuns, Sideswipe, and Red Alert. That's your fight.
Yeah,
oh, one too far. Sideswipe, don't worry about Red Alert.
that's fine.
Yeah, but still, you're still like as you said, those are $60, $70, $80 cars with a MP10 that's probably
Couple of $100, but
yeah.
But those are characters that I have more of a connection to. Like,
yeah, okay.
This is always the problem with combiners, is that you know less about the members of the combiner team. Like, I think I think Bruticus is actually one of the few combiners I can actually name all of the limbs for. Even like,
but would that be more?
Name me the Technobots. Go on.
I don't care for that.
But this is the thing, right? Like, I'm not going to go out and buy Technobots. I don't even know the names of them all. Like, I barely know the names of all the aerial bots. I don't really know all the names of the Stunticons. I just don't really care.
Yeah. But then even like Bruticus, you get different iterations of the cartoon, like animated, where you had Swindle, which was a fantastic character. Didn't combine, didn't need to.
Yes, Swindle was great in anime.
And that's just.
It's actually one of the reasons I know who he is in Bruticus.
And it's one of those classic things where people assume just because they have a name, it's got to do this or do that, and we're getting all that with the new cartoon now. But good point. Like, just knowing who characters are. The whole reason they're on screen is to sell the combining aspect of it, and for the most part, individual characters are very poorly flushed out or recognized. So. Like Superion's the only. Yes, we had Starscream's Brigade, but you didn't really get a lot of the individual. Whereas at least the aerial bots with whatever that going back in time to see Orion Pax episode was, where you at least got to see that Silverbolt's scared of heights and all that crap. But
yeah. So look. I know the names of the leaders for the combiners, but like the limbs. How about you, Max?
I think in terms of just in the perspective of value, is that a lot of the time with these third-party figures, I'd readily pay, and I know most people would readily pay over $100 for one of those limb-sized figures, right? And you are getting that level of engineering that you would pay for in a standalone figure in those limbs, but the issue is, and I think the stumbling block is for a lot of people, that ultimately, those figures are just going to sit in a combined mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whereas
I don't care about the engineering; they're just going to combine.
Yeah, like I've got something like the average $120 MMC figure, right? I'm gonna keep coming back to that, right? Whereas the figure that's part of a combiner, there's not nearly as much impetus for me to go take this individual figure off a shelf, transform that back and forth, and take a look back at that one, right? If I'm going to go back to that, then I'm going to get the entire combiner down and have a crack at that. But then that's more of a time investment, and you got to make space and everything, and then all of a sudden it's like, do I really want to get this combiner down when I could just grab this much smaller thing off the shelf? And so, while the engineering that you are paying for is about the same, the actual time that you are spending and the value that you are getting out of it, just on account of what you choose to do with the figure, I don't think it's quite as much.
Yeah, the big elephant in the room is Devastator. It's probably 2 years in the wind now, and I haven't looked back. But the Toy World Devastator, I had all the limbs except for the arms.
Half the limbs.
I had half the limbs and a torso. But at the same time, the Combiner Wars Devastator had come out. Now, there is nothing on the third-party market previously or current that matches that Combiner Wars Devastator, just in G1 aesthetic. You can go back across any of the Devastators that come out third party. That Combiner Wars Devastator is G1 to a T, and it's only at the time $150. Having that in Devastator mode, I was happy with. Toy World Devastator, I was buying for the individual modes. have because I'm being in construction, seeing the original G1 looking bots in alt mode with a little bit of detail, not too much. I was quite happy with and getting that, and yes, paying $100, $110, $120 a bot, whatever it was at the time, to do it. And I had no intentions of combining that figure. I had the Combiner Wars one, and people might say that's stupid. Why you spend $600 on individual bots when you're not going to combine them? Well, I spend that on Masterpiece stuff, and they don't combine. But
yeah, you'd be spending $600 on individual bots anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, they can combine, and it all comes back to the whole thing of I don't mind paying money for figures that don't transform, but that's a completely different argument. So, anyway, I do like the unique toys, Brady, because it does cheat a lot where the whole torso, the legs, and all that are kit forming, parts forming. Not
his legs aren't actually part of Onslaught, are they?
No. So, but
that's probably why they look so good.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's getting that beefiness that you want, and not making Onslaught look like a overhulking truck or something. But
it's there for people who care about accuracy over just engineering.
All right, we definitely need to move on.
I know, but then that Zeta Toys helicopter Vortex looks G1 to a T. So yeah, that's the problem you get.
All right, we're going to move on. We will come back to combiners in a few minutes' time, but for now, we did get some news this week that Fanstoys is re-releasing Phoenix, their Jetfire/Skyfire, and this version. If like me, you purchased the original run of Phoenix. Too bad, suckers, because this one looks so much better. He's got the chrome, the metallic paint on his backpack and on the sides of his legs and stuff. That is basically it. That's the update. He's got the metallic paint limited version. The use of the words limited version implies he's probably going to be more expensive.
They really need to get those dollars in to get Hot Rod released.
Yes. How did this get in the production line before Hot Rod?
I would like to draw attention to the fact that their Blitzwing has been on pre-order for like 2 years now, and we have yet to see a physical figure.
That's pretty much early days yet for the Fanstoys pre-orders, isn't it?
I was going to say I was going to mention Apache and Coot as well, but I think one of those is out already.
They're both out.
Okay, there you go.
Anyway,
so
metallic. I do not this one, obviously.
No,
but
the original.
I do have. I'm looking at him up on the thing now. He's great. Like he's big. He's chunky. Don't know what else to say about him really.
I don't. Would you prefer this over that one?
I kind of would.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Like I kind of would. I'm having pangs looking at it, but screw that. I can't be bothered.
There isn't a whole lot of difference in terms of accuracy. It's just slightly different looking paint. All you have here is just it looks nicer.
Look, in actual fact, the G1 figure obviously didn't have chrome and shiny metallic parts here. This is more, I guess, in line with the Generations Jetfire that did have the chromed red guns and everything on him. But it just looks nice. I like shiny things. I'm like a cat.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that Generations figure up. It's just one of those things where they've done both versions where I was quite happy and sort out the non-chrome version where the regular retail was the chrome version and then had problems.
Yeah, who did the non-chrome version? Was it Takara?
Takara, yeah, Takara done the non-chrome version. And then there was a lot of do-it-yourself oxidization or some sort of
just leave it outside for a while.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Fanstoys doesn't deserve that much more for a shiny repaint. No. We have a figure that we haven't really talked about for a little while, and this guy seems to be sneaking his way out into the world. This is Unique Toys R02 Challenger. Now, I want to say it's Age of Extinction Prime. I can't tell the difference between them all. Is it Age of Extinction Prime?
Yeah, Age of Extinction. Yes. It's got parts to it.
So this is a photo gallery from Thundercracker's Photo Vault, and he's taken some really nice photos, and he's sort of showing the transformation process here as well. So like we're just going to step through these quickly. We had previously seen some photographs of this, and we're wondering where exactly all of that Transformers, all the vehicle mode kibble goes. And yeah, look, that's a mess. Let's be honest. That's a mess. But it's pretty amazing where it all goes.
Yeah, I'm kind of astonished by the lack of singular panels. Like there's panels, but they've got chunks on them, right?
Mhm.
Like it's not really a shell former at all.
Mm.
It's quite amazing looking, and I guess that helps to justify the very long development cycle for this figure.
I do feel the chest looks sort of boxy.
Yeah,
once you sort of see it all sort of joined together like that, and
well, especially when he turns around.
It's not perfect, obviously.
When he turns around, it like that shot there is sort of like really, yeah, but sure.
It's a lot of it's around the sort of kidney flank area where it's just.
But yeah, look at the rest of it. There, you could not tell that was a truck.
No, and before his polka dot bikini tops come on, I was worried that was what the final form. I was like, no, that's what it would look like in prototype.
This is not even my final form.
Bikini on. Click.
So yeah, very well done, Unique Toys. Looking forward to seeing this make it out into the world a little bit more. Yeah, so we'll see how it ends up, shall we?
Yeah, no, definitely excited. This looks fantastic.
All right, I think that ends the news presentation. So let's turn that thing off.
Stop it.
So we put the call out in the group this afternoon for a discussion topic, and Alan came to our rescue. And he's a frustrated Transformers collector, like so many of us. He's trying to find combiner limbs for Abominus. Now, the good news is that these seem to have finally made it out to retail in Australia. So if you go shopping this weekend, there's I'm going to say like 30 to 50% chance you might find some Abominus limbs if you look in the right shops, but they're just taking their time to get out there. Now, Alan asks, at what point as collectors do you still use local retail? And he also adds a writer onto that. Has anyone actually found all the Dinobots yet? Now, we do know that there's a few people in the group who have found all the Dinobots. They are out there. They're quite the later ones are quite rare. Brad, you made mention of this earlier. You said, like, if it's anything past wave 2 or wave 3, it's not going to make it out at retail very much. Now,
unless you're lucky.
so for the first point, like. The question is, to what point as collectors do you still use local retail? I do it when things are on sale, because retailers, bricks and mortar retailers, can still beat online. Now, for proof of this, if you go back a couple of years when Target, admittedly, it was a fuck up on their part. Target was letting deluxes go for $15. And I will just point out also, we've seen Big W letting them go for $10 in the last couple of months on a big sale as well. So like these things can get out there at pretty amazing prices, and like you're not going to find those prices online as well. So
the only issue there is normally it's a select few figures.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Like.
But that's what I think, that encourages a little bit of experimentation as well, because like I wouldn't normally go into Big W expecting to see something to buy. I will go into Big W a lot and look as I go past one, but if I go in there and there's deluxes that are $10, I might pick up Quake, whereas I wouldn't normally, because it's just a hardhead repaint. But if he's $10, sure, I'll do it.
It's an easy purchase too.
Totally. You
have to think about it.
So Brad, to your question of like when the last time I saw bots I wanted on sale, like pretty rare, but a cheap price can engender a bit of desire for a figure.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
That's the thing. If you're, and I'm not, we won't go into that. If you're like Abominus, I've got no care for the character, but if we've seen releases, we know it's coming. It's going to be in different parts. And no box set from Takara as far as we know yet. If you're a collector and you want these figures, then surely I don't know why anyone would still think that well, I'm just going to wait and see if I can find them at retail. I don't. If you really want the figure and really want that combiner, I don't know why you wouldn't go to an online seller. Yes, you're going to probably pay a little bit more plus postage, but you're guaranteed to get those figures.
Yep.
And the Dinobots are a big one where people are still looking for Wave 2, Wave 3 Dinobots.
I'll be honest, I don't really know what's in what way.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Dinobots were Wave 1 and 2, Abominus is Wave 3.
Okay, well there you go. That's exactly why Abominus isn't turning up in a lot of places. But it's just one of those things. I don't. As a collector, if you want to get these things, then you'd go to local retail and just if you're buying the 5 figures and get them shipped to you, it's going to be a lot cheaper than going out and buying them individually later on when you can't find a sludge or a snarl, slag, whatever the Wave 2 is. But
I ordered all of my Abominus figures from Hobby Link Japan, just because it was an easy, guaranteed way to get them, and it came out like $5 or $10 cheaper than retail.
Have you seen any of them at retail?
No, never, not once. I haven't seen anything past Wave 1 to this day.
Yeah, and that's the same going into the movie Bumblebee figures and Studio Series. I really love that oversized Prime that's going to be coming out. I'm going to go online. I'm going to order that one of the Volkswagen Bumblebees, and we'll see what the Shatter and other bot and maybe even the Blitzwing / Starscream does online. I'm not even going to wait for local retail.
I'm gonna put something else to you as well, right? Which is something that I think people don't really consider when they go, oh, I'm not gonna buy this online. Especially as you said, it might cost you a few extra dollars, right? What do you value your time at? Because if you actually value your time and you add up all of the time that you go into the shopping center and maybe even go park your car, pay for parking, pay for petrol to get to the shops, go into the shops, look at all of the things, ask the staff member, you've invested hours of time for picking up these things and as you say, it might cost you $5 or $10 extra online, but that's a fraction of that hour of your time. And so I would put it to you that it's easier for time and effort to actually just buy them online and wear the extra few dollars. But go out and enjoy your weekend instead of going Transformers hunting. But of course, that's kind of half of the fun, isn't it?
Well, and if you got kids, then you better swallow up that mushroom when you hit that question mark brick, because you're going to be going through all the Lego aisles and everything as well. Because if you go in a toy shop looking for Transformers for yourself, the kids are going to see a lot of toys and want something for themselves as well. So,
yeah, Max.
Yeah.
I stumped him. Sorry, man.
No, I just forget I'm going sometimes. No, I think a lot of the time it just varies down to like you're saying, priorities, right? And so the pricing becomes a major factor, but it also becomes a matter of collecting habits as well. Like, we are in the current state of not just Transformers collecting, but toy collecting on the whole, is in a much more diverse place than it ever has been in terms of what is on offer. Right? So a lot of the time, retail stuff, for a lot of people, myself included, just doesn't hold the same draw to it that it would. A couple years ago, I would have gone like, Abominus, holy shit. But nowadays it's just like, oh yeah, Abominus, those will be the only powerful Prime figures I get, because I know that some third-party company's gonna go out and put something that is just much more interesting to me on a figure level.
Well, there's already a third-party Abominus.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, so
it's expensive. Apparently, kind of shit.
We are about done, and we are out of time for that discussion. Yeah. It's time to sort of wrap some things up quickly. We are going to talk about some new acquisitions quickly. Max, do you want to show us what you picked up recently?
Show us some bars.
Figure-wise, I guess on that topic, I've opened 3 of the Powerful Primes Terracons. So in order of basically worst to
Magnitude.
best, we'll start off with Sinner Twin. He's not particularly bad. He's just aggressively mediocre.
Mediocre.
The
That
proportions
was my performance review at work.
aren't very good. He's very G1, but not in a good way. Like the arms look like these giant discs. He's chunky. He barely transforms, and he's not all that posable.
Does he have elbows?
He has elbows.
Okay.
You know,
That's
like,
all right. Just all the blue was, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's a very chunky figure. I don't know. It's just
It's a combiner.
It's thoroughly
what the combiners
unexciting,
are.
if
Yeah.
I'm honest.
Yeah.
And I get that it's a combiner, but all the others feel new and updated, and it just feels like a G1 figure with joints.
Because it was designed 4 years ago when combiners were special.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the thing. These are also, just from an engineering perspective, even like, you know how Combiner Wars had all those little tricks with transforming the legs. You know, these guys bring all those back. Like,
Yeah.
these are straight up Combiner Wars figures. There's no question. Even though the Prime Armor gimmick, I have to say, isn't as stupid as it looks in pictures. It actually kind of works. Like, I don't know, if I got Ripper Snapper here, who's probably he's the second best out of the 3 I've opened so far. Like, I don't know, from a few angles, it doesn't look terrible, at least in person.
When you look at it straight on,
Yeah, straight
so
on.
you can't
Yeah, like-
see it. It doesn't look bad at all. When you turn it 90 degrees to the side, it looks stupid.
Actually, most angles, like, it doesn't look good, but it doesn't look bad either. I don't know. I don't like it, but it's there and it functions. Ripper Snapper, I guess. He's a solid figure. There's not much to say really. He's just the
I don't mind Ripper Snapper. Like it's a neat looking figure. Like he's got personality at least.
Yeah, the whole land shark thing's always been a bit fun, and he's got these great little sort of claws.
I like his claws. Yes.
The wristles they added here on just specifically for him really help there.
Yeah, I think he's
nothing-
unique. I think he's unique enough apart from the others. He's set aside.
He's got a bit of a different silhouette as well, with like the big thing coming across the top and 2 guns up here. So yeah, quite like him. And then the absolute winner out of these 3 is Blot. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I like
about him.
Blot. He's cute.
What is it about Blot, man? I don't. It's. I think the proportions factor into it.
I think it's also because his monster mode is just so naff.
Yeah, his nose monster thing is
Yeah.
fantastic, but he transforms a fair bit to get into that mode.
Hmm.
And in that mode, he's got like universal joints on the legs, and
He's quite
all ratchet and
articulated in
stuff.
monster mode.
and it holds together super well, and it pulls a couple decent little movements to transform. The way, like, we'll show you up close here. So you see how he's got the fist here and then 3 claws on the outside of a fist.
He's a Wolverine.
To transform him, you push your fist in, and the claw rotates around like that. So then you have 2 claws on one side and 1 claw on the inside.
Mhm.
And that movement's just from folding the fist in. It's just like little things like that make him work so well.
It's quite
And
detailed.
the proportions on him, he just looks solid. He looks like a Decepticon, man. Like, he's bulky guy with a couple spikes, and he's all, dark purple. He just works. There's nothing much else to say, man. It's just a good figure. There's nothing else to say. There's nothing remarkable, but there's nothing wrong with him. He just functions.
No, fair enough too.
And just quickly finish off something a bit more unique. I have to thank Jason for, and he very graciously picked up from TF Nation is a copy of Lost Light issue 1 signed by the writer James Roberts and the artist Jack Lawrence. I cannot thank you enough for this. This is a little piece of history here, and it is just awesome to have. So
You're
that
very
is-
welcome.
That is going to get framed and hung on a wall for certain.
Excellent. I have a couple of acquisitions I'm going to go through. This is probably the first time I've actually really opened up for more than like 5 minutes at a time. Wait a minute. There we go. A Beast Wars masterpiece.
Hello, pretty kitty.
Yeah, Pretty Kitty. Pretty Kitty arrived finally this week via another collector who sold me his because I was looking for one online, so he gave me a good price on it. Yeah, Pretty Kitty is pretty neat, and I finally understand the way that they're doing the sort of the paint and textures for the Beast Wars figures. So yeah,
Is it like a
good to
printed
see.
thing?
it is. Yeah, it's painted onto it, but it's not. The texture of the plastic is a little bit different to your normal masterpiece plastic.
Okay.
It's a little bit how would I describe it? It's not glossy shiny. It's more of a matte surface, and if you like your finger won't stick to the surface, and it's sort of low friction. So yeah, and in keeping with the Cheetor theme, another Cheetor arrived this week as well.
Isn't that exclusive?
He is a con exclusive. He's the animated version of Cheetor, and he is an animated Blur repaint, and very appropriate as well. He's a repaint, but his head is a remold. I don't know whether or not the camera will focus on that, but anyway. And
Just a question with that.
Yeah.
Because he's not covered in spots as much as the masterpiece Cheetor, do you see Jeffrey the Giraffe as a possible?
I think he's an easy repaint, yes, or an easy rework.
Yeah, just maybe not so much black, more of a brownie spot.
Look, let's be honest. The best way to turn this guy into a giraffe is just to put a longer neck on him.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I have been continuing my hunt for some e-hobby releases. Ooh. And these guys arrived a couple of weeks ago. I'm not sure whether or not I actually showed them in box on the not sure whether I showed them in box on the podcast or not, but the e-hobby Insecticons are utterly exquisite. Just their colors are pretty amazing. The leg on Bombshell bends quite easily. There we go. So yeah, the colors are pretty amazing, but the green and red on Kickback is just utterly inspired.
So are these called like Kickback? I had no idea these existed.
These are actually not these. So the G1 Insecticon lore has the Insecticons able to create clones and copies of themselves to assist themselves in battle. So these guys are not the original Insecticons. These are the clones that they've created, and they do have distinct names. And I can't remember what they are at the moment, but I did post them in the discussion group when I did a photo shoot of them a week or so ago. So yeah, so that's my new acquisitions.
Awesome.
Excellent.
All right.
Class. It's just like run-of-the-mill retail figures, and then what do you know is it's like all these exclusives.
Well, so
Jason always brings out like these ridiculous fancy figures, man. It's insane.
Actually, just so I just want to point out as well. Someone on Twitter pointed out for these. Oh, and also these guys have rub signs as well. So this being a Japanese Kickback release, he's got sharp wings because the Takara release ends with a round point. Not the Takara, the Hasbro releases end with a round point on the end of the wings, so the kids didn't stick them in their eyes.
Switchblade Kickback.
Yeah. So and look, since I've shown off two of them as well. There's the final one. Like the colors are not as congruous as their normal sort of purple and yellow thing, but I love them to bits. They're great.
It's a nice looking red.
It really is. It really is. All right, that is it. Let's move on, and we'll do a bit of a rush to the end of the show, shall we? We'll get on to some TCCA business before the end of the podcast. It is TCCA's birthday this month. Queensland and Western Australia are actually getting events to celebrate the club's birthday during the month of its birthday. Other states will probably be early in October. Timing has gotten away from us, but do check the details on the TCCA Facebook group and on the website, and you'll find out more information about that. And Max, you will be representing us at the Adelaide Comic and Toy Fair on Labor Day. That's Monday, October the 1st. So if you are in Adelaide around that date, do head on over and say hi to Max, and he'll give you a free hug.
I don't know about a hug. It depends on how much you've showered recently.
Given that it's a comic and toy fair, you're not going to be giving out that many hugs. I remember the one that I went to, the Adelaide Mega Toy Fair. By the time it got to the afternoon, the place did smell a little bit.
Yeah, it can't be worse than some of the football stadiums around the country coming up on some of the big games, because people are camping out 3 or 4 days ahead of time and 3 or 4 days without showers and then going into the sports.
It sounds like an iPhone line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this stuff isn't. It's not necessarily like a popular culture thing. It's just a thing of big public gatherings. Not much hygiene.
It's not a pop culture thing. It's just a thing.
Yeah, this is always a great event for TCCA.
And
they've always been good to us, so it'd be great to come along and show them some love.
Yep, agreed.
Right. Anyone got anything else that we need to slip in at the end of the show before we finish the show?
No, I was going to mention that I think by the time this comes out, it's probably going to be over, so we don't need to do that.
Okay, good. I don't know what they're talking about, but sure.
Oh, there's 20% off Myer at the moment, but it'll probably be over by the time we get.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Then no.
Yep.
Okay, everyone. Thank you for listening. If you are watching the live record, thanks for checking us out. Find out more about these stories. You'll find links to them and more in the show notes posted in the Podbean site and the Transformers Weekly Facebook page. If you want to get in touch with us, and please do, because we do love listener feedback, you will find the official site at Podbean, transformersweekly.podbean.com. Facebook page is called Australian Transformers Weekly, and we are all in the Transformers Collectors Club Australia group on Facebook. If you're not already subscribed, find us on iTunes, Pocket Casts, YouTube, and other podcatchers of choice and distinction, and you'll find an RSS link in the show notes. We are a production of Transformers Collectors Club Australia. The club is a registered club in Victoria. You can find its information online on the official Victorian Club's registration website. We are run by volunteers like us who donate their time and money to make the club better for everyone. Our goal is to connect Transformers fans around the country. We do it by engaging the collecting community like this. Sometimes we just engage ourselves.
Self-engagement activate.
Yes. You can nearly made it. You can find more information, including affordable yearly membership options, to show your support for us at transformerscca.com. That is it from us. Say bye, boys, and we'll be back with more Transformers news next week.
Bye, boys.
Boys.